Hello and welcome to episode 59 of TrustyHogs. Today, one Helen Bauer is absent from the studio.
No, she's not. Here I am.
That was a really bad impression, actually, but also quite fun.
But do you remember the last time that I co-hosted and I did a really bad impression of Helen and literally all of her friends texted like, yeah, I just thought it was you.
I do. In fact, I do. Chloe Petts is here to co-host instead. Hello, Chloe Petts.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Oh my gosh, I forget every time that you bring a serenity that I almost can't deal with on account of what I'm used to.
Well, yeah, I think I had a bit of a dilemma coming in today, which was, do I sort of come in and try and cover Helen in my own way, or do I try and sort of ape the attitude? Basically, am I kind to you, or do I make your life a living hell is the dilemma that I have to make.
Do you think she ever has that dilemma on the way here, or does she just, like, it's the only option she has available to her is to make my life a living hell?
I think like an actual trusty hog lives in Helen's head, and it's just sort of, it just feels like there's just oinking and she just has to shout over it.
Yeah, I get it.
Constantly in her brain.
So what have you settled on?
Well, I'm
still deciding.
Yeah, jury's out. Depends if you're a real bitch or not.
Through the fog, step forth the trusty hogs. Yeah, you're gonna give them your problems and they will solve them, or maybe they won't, and that's your problem. They'll have guests and Andrew White on the tech. Oh, it's Helen and Catherine as the trusty hogs. Trust the trusty hogs, or maybe not.
Wow.
Yeah, well, I just feel quite peaceful.
I'm so glad to hear it. I'm so glad to hear it. Those people who listen to Trusty Hogs often will know that we recently hung out to do our half marathon. Mm-hmm. Apparently you had some things to say about our half marathon when you recorded the Off Menu podcast.
Well, yeah, my I don't know when it will go out in relation to when this goes out, but yeah, I just thought your attitude absolutely fucking stank.
Is this what you said on Off Menu?
Yeah. Yeah, I said
when I wasn't there to defend myself?
Yeah. I said you had a bad attitude. And the reason why I think...
Chloe, I got you through those last few miles.
You got me through the last few miles, but you didn't help on the first maybe 6. And I think the problem is that we have very different attitudes towards self-motivation.
We really do.
And basically what happened was we met at... So we did the Royal Parks Half Marathon, which like 16,000 people run. So it's a big event. And when you were there at the beginning, they have almost like this little like running village that everyone sort of populates. And there were massive queues for the toilets. And you arrived a bit after me. Through no fault of your own, I had to go early because I'd fucked up my race number. I'm willing to admit that. But I was in the toilet queue.
So big of you.
And you sort of came in with the attitude of like you were emceeing a gig.
I did no such thing, Chloe
You
Pett.
did.
I did no such thing.
You were befriending all the old ladies in front of us.
Those
the
women were
pretty
listening to
girls
every word we
behind us.
said because you'd already started talking to them.
We were being very entertaining, I will say that.
Come on.
But what I also will say is that your sort of attitude towards both emceeing and self-motivation is to be like very sort of like self-deprecating and sort of undercutting things. So your way of self-motivating was basically going like, yeah, we're going to be so terrible, we're going to be so shit. But basically what that sounded like to every sort of very slender small woman around us there was that you were being self-deprecating on my behalf.
It did.
No, it did, because all of those women were like, this girl is clearly being kind to her massive fucking friend that she's going to have to roll round. Because all of these women ignored you and started giving me a pep talk about how wonderful and brilliant I was going to be. And I was like, yeah, of course I'm going to be absolutely
all bodies
brilliant.
are running bodies.
I was like, yeah, I'm going to run so fast, I'm going to create a tornado.
You did in fact shout that at the bathrooms or toilets. It was really odd. There was just a very tall person outside the portal who's going, there's going to be a tornado around me, I'm going to run so fast, I'm the best runner in London, I am.
But I think maybe London and Greater London.
You made that very clear.
Yeah, so I think...
You promised those women they were going to be carried along by your tornado. They wouldn't even need to.
So as I say, we've got very different attitudes towards self-motivation.
But the thing is, from my point of view, how I'm self-motivated is like, especially if I have to do tasks in a day that are really shit, like I don't want to do and they've been hanging over me for a while, I'll go, look, okay, this is going to be bad.
Yeah.
But at least it'll be done.
But why did it have to be bad for me as well? And
Listen,
and why did the impact of that be incredibly small femme women telling me how wonderful I was, how brave I was?
Okay, I feel like that's partly on them. I feel like that's not what I asked them to do. But I will also say, like, you were going into my mind with toxic positivity.
Oh, no.
Yeah. I was like, this is going to be bad. Neither of us have run this distance. I hadn't trained enough. I felt like it's going to be bad, but then it'll be finished. And then we get a roast. We get to go to the pub. Either way, that's how I motivate. You were like, I'm going to win this half marathon. By the way, they'd already started moving the faster runners, and like the race had begun. And Chloe was like,
some people's race had already finished by the time we started.
We're in the fifth, the last group, and Chloe's like, I'm gonna win this thing. And I'm like, I feel like it's not an energy we can maintain.
We were overtaking a lot of people, but that's because we were at the back with all of the sort of.
And did we overtake anyone who wasn't dressed as an animal?
Yeah, that elderly woman.
Jan! Hey, Jan! Fuck you, Jan.
I think, well, no, I think I'm a very positive person. I'm very optimistic.
You are.
And I knew that at some point I was going to, like, really struggle. So I was just like, why don't we keep as positive as we can for as long as we can? And then when the inevitable dip comes, we'll deal with it then.
Whereas I'm like, expect the worst and you can't be disappointed.
Exactly. Irish.
Yes, exactly. A Catholic Irish woman is what I'm saying to you. But we did it.
We did do it.
We did it. And at the end, Chloe took my hand. And as we were crossing the finish line, in my mind, we were running so fast. We were sprinting at the speed of light. On reflection, Andrew, who also saw us finish that race, can attest to the fact that we were barely jogging.
Did we look beautiful and fast when we...
Yeah, pretty fast.
How fast?
Rob Delaney
Tornado?
just ahead of you.
Rob Delaney was just ahead of us.
Yeah.
Fuck Rob Delaney!
And my father.
What?
My father beat you as well.
Oh, we don't know he beat us. What time did you do it in?
Faster one than you.
Tell us the time.
I think he was 2 minutes ahead of you, maybe a bit less.
How old is he?
50. Oh, God.
What?
I'm sorry.
Okay, well, that's the fact I didn't know or need to know. Thank you, Andrew.
Apologies. He's done quite a few half marathons, though, so...
Well, then he should really be beating us by more, shouldn't he? Fucking loser. Tell him I said so.
I'm honestly pissed off.
Yeah, me too. See, I told you, expect the worst, and then you're never disappointed. But you got my fucking hopes up that we were going to win the marathon. Thanks, Chloe. Thanks a lot.
It was lovely.
It was nice, and we got a roast after.
Yeah, and then I essentially saw it as like a challenge to sort of consume every last one of the calories that I burned, and then I got home and I was sick.
No, you weren't.
Yeah, I was sick.
No, you weren't.
Em's friend came over for dinner and I was just like rolling around
No.
on the sofa. I sort of gave up trying to make a good impression. Maybe about 45 minutes in where I was like, no, I'm actually unwell here.
That's wild, because the other way, you also went the inverse when we did that training run and I didn't have food ready for you like the millisecond we got home. You were like not able to function.
Yeah, and I think that's probably why I overate after the half marathon, because I didn't want to feel like I did after the 10 miles where like I just crashed and was like, I need to eat immediately.
Fascinating. I will say I've never, in both cases, in the training run and the half marathon, I've never run with anyone who talked quite so much about how much food we were going to be allowed to eat afterwards. And then you kept like feminism checking yourself by being like, obviously we're allowed our food. We don't have to earn our food, but we're going to be allowed to eat so many calories afterwards. So, you know.
But I mean, the only reason that I run is so that I can sort of eat at the level that I was eating at before when I wasn't running.
Yeah, listen, it's always nice to be like, I have to eat this because I'm an athlete.
Yeah.
That's always always a nice way to feel.
I've got a half marathon to win.
Because
but
because 4 weeks ago I did do a training run actually, so gotta keep my energy up.
No, I will qualify that by saying that is an absolutely toxic way of thinking, and I'm sorry for it.
I know you will, because you always will, because you're bad but also a good feminist.
No, I'm bad, but I'm self-aware.
And that is honestly the only goal, except for the fact that you weren't self-aware enough to not mock me on Off Menu. And I cannot wait to listen, and we'll be live tweeting while I do.
No, but I do.
But I will.
No, but I think.
I will.
I think it's fair that you were not taking into account how we were being perceived as a dynamic, as a plus-size woman. I was obviously going to be the one that you were sort of...
I was busy sort of dealing with my own shit, and when I say my own shit, I do mean my own shit, because I'd been to the A&E the night before because I hadn't been able to go to the toilet in 7 weeks.
No, but I'm glad that you're admitting it now, because when you were telling me like, oh, I think it might be some, some sort of issue, and I was like, no, you just haven't shat, come on. Be honest with
bad.
yourself.
I just find it really hard to be.
Have you told her now?
Yeah.
And how have you worked it out?
I had to get drunk to tell her, though.
Right.
I had to get drunk to tell her. It's a partly learned thing from OCD. So I used to be able to pee in public toilets.
Yeah.
And so I'm very, very good at holding,
Yeah.
which has caused problems in my body before. And so
you're still categorizing that as good. I'm very good at holding.
that's interesting.
So I have
That's
to go to
interesting.
A&E.
I'm very well practiced at holding to a damaging extent. Actually, good point. It's not good at all. But I do find it very hard to be like that kind of human in front of my new partner.
I can't do it. I can't do it in front of M.
Really?
Yeah, because
How long have you been dating?
2 years.
And you can't do that one?
I mean, we now, like, I would say we're now at a point where we know that it goes on.
Okay.
But I don't know. I think I've got this thing about like feel it like I will admit it. I have.
Don't look at M. Look at me.
In the
No,
two-
Chloe, can I just say one thing?
Yeah.
M signed up to produce this podcast. She did not sign up to be involved in the conversation. She's made that very clear multiple times. So you talk to me like she's not your, like you're just
In the
talking-
2 years that I've been with my girlfriend that may or may not be in this room, I have pooed. I will admit that.
Oh my God. Wow. That's so disgusting. How weak you are.
But I think it's like, I think it's that I feel like I don't want to be like a gross, disgusting boy.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess that for me, it's, I don't want to be unsexy in any way.
I've
don't-
never heard this from a gay man. This farting issue. I think it is
That they do
interesting-
fart in front of you.
interestingly gendered. Yeah.
They
fart.
would just fart.
Yeah, me and Reese are farting all over the place.
That's crazy.
You probably- I didn't say that.
I think that's disgusting though.
Yeah, but not like on purpose. We're not like aiming for it. It just happens.
Yeah.
We're both two men
Yeah.
with bodies.
Yeah, no.
No?
Even
Okay.
like the boyish lesbians will be like, I have to go outside to fart. And you're like, it's too much information! Or I am.
Yeah, I just think it's
Hypothetically, that's what I'd say happens.
yeah, I don't know. It's probably like for me a blend of like internalized misogyny and internalized masculinity, and for you it's internalized misogyny.
Yeah, not misandry. Interesting. Because I think they are gross and weak for doing it in front of each other.
Love you, Reese. Thank you.
I obviously it is. Obviously it is. It is also from like maybe a little bit of the internalized misogyny has also come from my experience with other lesbians who want me to be a specific presentation of femininity, which I too wish to be.
So you're talking about a very externalized homophobia.
No, I'm saying that like I think okay, so like I don't know where it comes from, but I don't think it's helped by, and I don't want to over egg the situation, but I feel like there is sort of a fetishization or excitement around my femme presentation in queer relationships because it allows us to play into like learned traditional gender roles that people enjoy when they feel queered or when they feel novel or when they feel like there wasn't permission for us to do that or whatever, and that's exciting and there are good things about that, but also I have to feel like the girl sometimes, and I don't know, I went to an all girls school. If you farted in an all girls school, you were dead forever. Like that was going to be you forever, and I don't want to be that. And I also just I don't know, I just find it unsexy and embarrassing. And also my new girlfriend's cool and I don't want to be uncool. I'm already so uncool.
Farting's cool.
I don't think it is.
I think it is.
I don't think it is. Then how come you don't do it in front of M?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So, sorry to interject here. Catherine, no fart. Just for your consideration. Thank you.
Oh. Nice. That's good stuff. Yeah, we'll give it to you. We'll give it to you. Oh, God. Good stuff.
Get Hugh Davis on the blower. We're rewriting the theme tune.
Through no fog. Hey! Thank you. Thank you. Listen, I hate it and I don't.
I'm back up again.
I don't want to do it is the answer. We're talking about this for too long. My point is, we both got round the old half marathon. We had our lovely dinner and it was nice.
Did you fart once during the half marathon?
Beside you? Absolutely not.
I don't think I did. No.
Beside you? No.
I don't think I did actually.
I wouldn't have risked it. Not a chance.
Genuinely really impressive because how much control do you have whilst you're also trying to like complete a half marathon?
I also think it's good self-control, but maybe also stupidity because I feel like if I'd just let out like a few in a
we would have gotten further.
we would have shaved off that 2
Propelled
minutes
ourselves.
and beaten Andrew's dad.
That's why your dad he cheated. He was getting the momentum forward. Oh,
It's
this
like-
is too much. I hate this boy conversation.
Sorry.
Yeah, I don't like
I'm
it.
sorry.
I don't like it.
Sorry, everyone in this room.
Yeah,
Do you think this is more bad than everything Helen Bauer says?
Oh, do you think she's disgusting?
She would have called you a cunt 7 times by now.
She would have. To
She's
be
really
fair.
throwing that word
She
around
really-
a lot. Isn't
She'd have
she, at the
already
moment?
farted in the room, to be honest. She would have. She really would have. So yeah, thank you for coming in with more serenity, but the equal levels of grotesqueness as Helen Bauer.
She doesn't talk about farts a lot, though, does she?
Only because I don't give her the space to.
No, but she
I'm not
talks
opening
about
that can of
she
worms.
talks about other bodily stuff.
Worms, poo, her vagina, thrush, styes, infections.
Yet she doesn't go with farts. An interesting character.
Glad we
trait.
found a little place for you to sit. A little niche for Chloe. Isn't that nice?
I found the fart hole.
Side changing the topic now. I like your nails.
Oh, thanks.
You have your nails painted and they're beautiful. This is the first time I've ever seen you with nail polish on.
Yeah.
Tell me.
Well, on Saturday evening, I went to my friend's birthday, and I don't know, she was just in a very camp mood. She was just
Okay.
sort of swanning around the place in a very camp mood.
Okay.
And she and my other friend Hermione were doing their nails. And I was
Right.
like, maybe I'd like to have my nails done.
Great.
And then she said, what colour? And I said, maybe a darker one, because I've seen, some of the edgier boys doing that.
Which of your boys?
Like, sort of the Harry Styles drones. Do you know what I mean?
Yes. Okay, so you're like, I'm going to be like a Harry Styles dress.
I basically feel like I'm now comfortable enough in my own masculinity that the nail varnish doesn't feel like a sort of weird, like feminine thing that I'm doing. Like whenever I've had nail polish on before, I felt like, like when a dog wears socks.
Yes.
And it's sort of putting its legs all over the
Yeah.
it can't, it's like hitting things and it can't
Yeah.
like, get space.
Yeah.
That's what I've always felt like. And then on Saturday I was just like, this feels right.
Oh my God, good
I
for you.
just feel trendy.
You have a lot going on lately. Tell me what else you've had done on your birthday.
Ear pierced.
You got your ears pierced.
Yeah.
Tell me about it. So had you had them pierced before?
I'd had them pierced before, but the thing you need to know about me, Catherine, is I have very thick lobes. And
I didn't know that about, and nor did I think that sentence was going to end that way.
I have very thick lobes, and I do mean with 2 C's. And,
Thick lobes change lives, save lives. Thick lobes save lives.
and how? Come on, qualify that.
I don't know. I don't
How a
know.
thick lobe could save a life, Catherine.
I don't want to play this
Maybe
game.
like it's when you shoot and the Bible stops the bullet, your lobe will stop the bullet for somebody else.
I become like a very specific security guard where I
That's
just have
nice. Douche, douche.
to. Well, yeah, I got very thick lobes, so I've had issues with sort of like them getting a bit like infected and a bit gross and stuff like that. And this time went to a sort of, I guess,
Fancier
a
place.
fancier place.
Nice.
Yeah. And everything's been really quite fantastic.
They look so
really.
cute.
Thank you.
Very
and
nice.
we've worked out that 9 weeks after will be on Christmas Day. So
Is 9 weeks how long you have to keep these studs in?
keep the studs in.
Right.
So then on Christmas Day, as a special treat, I'm going to pop in the earrings that you got me for my birthday.
Oh, that's so nice.
Yeah.
Oh my God, how lovely.
A beautiful, divine little hoops.
Listen, a mask hoop.
Yeah.
It took me ages to find them. It turns out getting a freaking sturdy mask hoop that isn't like, that's just utilitarian and isn't fucking weirdly bejeweled is harder than you'd think.
You did a really great job.
Thank you so
You've
much. I
absolutely
really
smashed it.
appreciate the praise. Thank you.
I can't wait for Christmas
I
Day.
absolutely did what your girlfriend told me to do. I was like, I need to get a gift for Chloe. What does she want? And
Do you
she
mean
said,
that she took ages looking for it in you?
"Oh no!" And she told me what to get, and then I went and looked for it.
Beautiful.
Yeah, no, I did do at least that. I'm not. Can you imagine? Although had that been an option, I would have let Em just send me a link. But, she didn't. Actually, I asked, but no, I had to go find them myself, which is fine, I guess.
But yeah, I'm just really enjoying sort of doing queering things that I previously thought were feminine. You know,
It's
for
nice when
example-
queering things that used to mean conformity. That's so exciting.
Yeah, like I now flirt with men. You know. Yeah. And if they
Let's bring missionary back. Let's reclaim missionary.
queering mission.
Yeah.
But no, but it's really funny because if I flirt with a man, if he were to like flirt back, I'd be like, or like, if like it's funny, sort of quite performative flirting. If there was any ever expectation of like it to go beyond the flirt, and I'd be like, fuck off, I'm not gay, mate. Like. It's safe, a safe and comfortable.
It's good to know your boundaries.
Yeah.
It's good to know your boundaries. And also, may I say, mask privilege that you can do that.
Flirt with a man and
Yeah.
not expect it.
And not have them expect anything.
Yeah. Whoa, back off,
Whoa, mate.
Whoa, homo. Whoa.
Nice.
Christ.
Nice. How exciting. That's good. We have to have our guest on soon. It's the wonderful Sara Pascoe. Are you ready to welcome her?
Yes.
Great. Please welcome to Trusty Hogs. It's Sara Pascoe. Hello, if you like Trusty Hogs, why not join our Patreon? Listen, we have an extra episode every single week if you do, which is amazing. And you can listen to the backlog of them if you have just joined. You get all the 57 free ones that are already out. Additionally, we put up extra content, extra shows, extra live shows. And lately, an entire episode of us solving listener problems called the Mailbag Special Edition 1. There's so
Yes,
many treats
please.
on there. I think it's worth a $5, if not more.
Oh my God, come on, you fucking little piggy whores. Join us for £5 a month. You get everything and you can be our best friend.
I love how they're the whores, but we're asking for their money. Confusing. Have a lovely day.
Thank you, bye.
Hello, we are doing a live Christmas show for Trusty Hogs.
It's called Hog Hog Hog, like ho ho ho, but hog hog hog. And
Hog,
you can
hog,
drink
hog.
egg hog.
Yeah.
It's like eggnog, but with bacon in it. Egg hog. Only at the Bill Murray pub on December the 18th for Trusty Hogs Live. Hog Hog Hog.
Bye.
Bye.
It's Sara Bloody Pascoe.
I was
Hi.
drinking from a plastic bottle.
Oh my
Don't
God.
put that as the clip.
That's going to be the only clip.
Don't put that on the clip.
That's going to be the clip.
Put on repeat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sarah swigging from plastic.
Just boomers over your head.
Sarah Pascoe hates the sea.
She hates it. She's not even she calls herself a vegan, question mark?
Just trying to look for the bit where it says this is made of cardboard.
God damn it.
I just saw her punch a fish on the way here.
Yeah, she
Yeah,
does.
she did that.
Constantly punching fish, and you know there's a lot of them around London. Listen. Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm really, really well, thank you.
Good. You're starting your tour on Friday.
Thursday.
We've
Friday's
been
the
over
show
this.
that counts.
We've been over this. You've told me Thursday twice, and I haven't been able to compute. I'm like, it's
Are
Friday.
you really busy? Have you got like busy brain?
I think I do.
Where it's got like no space for new information.
That's probably what's going on.
And also, like, I think if you were to retain information, then it wouldn't need to be the dates and locations of Sara Pascoe's tour.
As a true
like-
friend.
Wow. Yeah, I was like, Chloe, I don't
As a
think you
true
understand our friendship. I think it would be exactly that.
Oh, you're Sarah's PA. Okay,
Yeah.
I just
understand.
like a
wish.
good luck text message, just like specifically for each venue. It's in Albans tonight, eh? Have a great
Love
one.
that dressing room.
Yeah.
They're gonna love you. Have you seen Sara Pascoe's shoes?
No.
I bought buffaloes.
They're so
I could never. When I was in the 90s as a teenager, this is what
Same.
Spice Girls wore, and I never could afford them. you
Aren't
see.
they incredible?
They're absolutely divine.
I think this is called a midlife crisis.
No,
Yeah.
this is called reclaiming your frickin' youth. I couldn't afford them either, and my cousin had a glittery purple pair, and I was honestly like
They're the ones
outwardly
that are on
jealous.
sale on ASOS because no one wants them anymore.
What?
Yeah, they're
You're,
like
you're,
40% off.
you are looking astoundingly Gen Z today, I will say that.
You look great.
Yeah.
You look
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
So is the show about the 90s?
Weirdly, loads of 90s stuff came up. I think because I was talking about some stuff that happened when I was 14, which is like very origin story for me. And then weirdly out of it, loads of stuff, I thought about loads of stuff that I hadn't thought about for ages, like the paparazzi. Like when the paparazzi was like the biggest problem. And how different it is now that we all take pictures of ourselves constantly, like much worse than the paparazzi ever were.
Isn't that interesting? And how many people's aesthetic is like as if they have been papped?
Yeah,
which
like,
is really odd.
Like someone's invaded my privacy. Upskirting, people do it to themselves and call it nudes. Like, and that used to be a massive thing where we were like, oh, these paparazzi lie on the floor and try and get photos up girls' skirts.
But isn't that sort of trying to sort of take control of the narrative of like, I'm going to take control of the output that I put out there? But then I guess if you're having to do that, then what level of control do you have that you're still having to do it?
Yeah, I think there definitely is an argument to that, but I would posit another one, which is, for which where's the audience?
Yeah.
Because there was this thing with celebrities, which was like people wanted to see them, and especially sometimes in a humiliating light or very human, more fragile. They wanted to see what they didn't. What you're trying to not show us. We want to see that.
Stop
And now
curating
we have
yourself.
the opposite, where like there's no audience, but there are people that we've all had to mute who post selfies of themselves constantly. So that was where the 90s sort of took me.
But also we were trying to find out what was beyond their own curation, whereas now everyone's curating their own sort of television show on Instagram, which is fascinating.
Yeah, do you find it fascinating?
I find it fascinating that I was in Victoria Park the other day and there was a woman alone with a human size, like full tall tripod, and she was walking at it and waving at it like as if she was meeting a friend. I find that fascinating. I don't find it comfortable or good, but I was like, what's going on today?
Maybe she's one of those people that has fallen in love with an object, and the tripod is her girlfriend.
Oh, you think it's a lesbian tripod
Yeah, it's a
dynamic?
lesbian.
I wish I'd felt that she was that happy to see the tripod. She didn't seem aroused. She just seemed alone.
Maybe it's a long-term relationship.
Oh,
Yeah.
the
Maybe
romance
she
has
takes the
waned.
tripod. She takes the tripod for granted. It's just always there, making her look well lit.
Seeing someone walk past with a selfie stick going, oh.
Yeah, I know he's a bad boy, but just for one night.
Guys, I clearly didn't think it better enough. Actually, that was my issue. That's on me. I apologise.
There can be many things true at the same time.
Yes, this is true. And also, actually, because you are in the public eye, and you have had a baby. Congrats.
Well done.
Congrats. Very big.
Really
exciting
good.
news. Very big,
I'm
exciting.
a real
news.
woman now.
I'm glad you said it, actually. I'm glad you said it.
Thank
Doing
you.
my bit for the war effort.
Well done. Another boy. Thank God. Good. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that. Well, that's actually what I was going to say is like, how did you decide whether or not to put your baby on Instagram?
What I really have an awareness of is that everything you put on the internet is there forever. And it's odd, like, I put a couple of pictures up with like the back of his head. And when I did chat shows preparing for the tour, when I talked, they put up that picture because that was the closest they could have to a picture of my baby. One of the shows checked with me, one of the shows didn't. And I thought, it was lucky there wasn't like just an early baby shot, or they would just would have put it up.
Oh my God.
And what I'm really aware of him, a sensitivity that I haven't shown to anyone else in my life previously, is that he'll go to school. He will then one day hopefully get a job.
Yeah.
And people will be able to excavate back into his history via me. And so I'm super careful about what that narrative will be.
Yeah,
And
that's
and
good.
I thought, I've still not had my like out routine. Like I haven't had my Beyonce in the post office. I haven't had I don't want it to be like his shitty nappies.
No,
forever
that's
like-
fair.
I mean, he's like, I'm a lawyer now, mummy.
Please stop it.
Yeah.
And do I have to still call you mummy?
So still your closer. And it's really good for me to have that of like, he will have a life. I have to be really careful about what I've said and what I've shared. But then I also understand why some people are just gushy and they want their fans feel like they're part of their world.
Yeah.
I read I was going to say I read an article the other day. I read a headline of an article the other day and decided that it made me clever enough.
Yeah.
But it was essentially like this kid speaker who'd grown up, and it was like one of the first generations of adults who were like sort of like Instagram, have been part of an Instagram family.
Yeah.
And the kid was essentially going like, it made me feel so exposed that I felt like my mum and dad were like constantly putting me and my life on show. Like that must be so...
The idea of like a performative
weird.
childhood and then certain events that actually are magical, but only if you're in the moment. I think that like beach holidays are absolutely amazing if you are actually like there, not if you're going, what's my angle? What does this look like?
How does
What
my
are we
body
doing?
look?
What are we curating? Like Christmas opening the presents. If you're not actually inside it, it doesn't matter how Christmassy it looks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're not doing it with
for those
abandon.
children, who are like being told, no, don't do that yet. We're going to do this big one. Everyone get round because I'm going to get likes for this. Because strangers are going to look into your living room. Yeah.
Yeah, that is cringe.
And I'm sure some kids don't. It doesn't bother them. And I'm sure in some families there's dialogue, so this isn't me just
No, but I remember
blanket criticising people.
Do you remember that shift between childhood and teenage, where like you were suddenly aware that there might be a photo on Christmas morning, so it was less like run out the door and like wake everyone up, and more like, do I have time to brush my hair? What pajamas?
You had a
will I-
nicer family than me.
Okay.
We were absolutely like scarecrows going, fuck off, Mum, if you put that fucking camera anywhere fucking near me, I'm going to go back to bed.
And I don't
Okay.
think I had that problem because my Crystal Palace tracksuit was always looking fresh.
Okay. Okay, well, I guess we live different lives, and that's okay.
Different
That's okay.
families.
Whereas my mom would cry if on Christmas or my birthday, I wouldn't at least let her take one then. So those are like the times that she like got to. So I would brush my hair for those. Hell. Anyway, one nice little insight into our mothers. That's fine.
And also, don't pretend that you weren't like waking up literally every morning.
I can imagine you're sort of a black velvet number.
Black velvet's very hard to keep clean, actually.
Midi length.
I wish I had budding boobs. Oh God, that would have been my dream. That would be my dream. But it was more like pajamas that my mother bought for me that matched my sisters that were horrible and check, and I hated them so much. But we all matched.
And that's wonderful.
You all matched the
We all
entire
matched.
family.
No, not my mum and dad, just my sister, my brother, and I.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, it was
What did your
bad.
parents wear?
Clothes, like daytime clothes. They'd be dressed within the second. But they were the kind of people who got up at like 6 a.m. and still do get up at 6 a.m. And when you come down at 7 are like, good afternoon. And you're like, are you
But then
kidding
it's
me?
weird that they wanted you to stay in pyjamas, like you're cosplaying Still the Night, even while they're away.
Well, they also made us come downstairs and sing Happy Birthday to Jesus. Like, none of it made sense, Sarah.
Oh, I forgot about
Did,
that.
you have to, did you have to sing Happy Birthday to Jesus?
At the Nativity in the hall, yes, before we could go into the Santa
That
presents.
is so fun.
There are many videos of us singing full Happy Birthday to Jesus.
Happy birthday, dear Jesus.
Jesus. Happy birthday to you.
And then were they
Name
just
of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit, amen.
And were they just waiting for the Holy Spirit to blow out the candles?
No, there was no candle, but then I guess he created lights, so no real need.
So when the Da Vinci Code came out, and there was like discussions about like, oh, actually December 25th is actually like Mithras, God of Light, and it got sort of the pagans sort of absorbed it, all that kind of, or Christianity absorbed paganism. What did your parents?
You think we were allowed to watch the Da Vinci Code?
I know,
but it was
Sarah,
like
you
culturally.
you thought the Da Vinci Code was going to be the thing that made them go like, hang on a minute, this doesn't add up to me.
I took my dad to see the Book of Mormon. We watched the Book of Mormon, and the entire first half, my brother and I are like clenched jaws, clenched everything, being like, oh my God, it's so like...
So that's about missionaries.
Yeah, and there's no real disparity between that and Catholic missionaries, and it's so sacrilegious and so like heretical. I was like, oh my God, this is horrific. Anyway, the lights come up. My dad turns around and he just goes,
Do you want me to do the accent?
"No, that's cool. I got it. Thanks."
I'm sure.
Oh my God.
Riddle me this.
Riddle me this.
This is about the Book of Mormon. So it's about. It's not Irish people saying, but this will be a tinker.
Did you confuse leprechauns with Rumpelstiltskin? What's happening? Riddle me this.
Oh, it's all the same ballpark.
I also love that my dad to you is the same as your impression of Aisling B. It's all just the same person.
yes,
That's great.
yes.
No, he turned around and was like, Mormons are mad. And we were like,
Oh.
the cognitive dissonance is so real.
The
for
guy,
you.
the guy in the mirror is looking old.
Yeah. Literally that. It was like, he was like, crazy Mormons, right? And we were like, yeah, crazy Mormons. Anyway, no, the Jesus song was sang regardless of the Da Vinci Code. We managed to wish them
What
a happy
age did
birthday.
that stop?
I want to say younger than it did.
You're not still doing it.
No,
Really?
no. I'm not religious anymore. And also, I had to. Okay, if there's any children in the room, send them out. Shouldn't have been listening to this in the first place. But at the point at which we no longer believed in Santa, I didn't have to pretend to believe in God to justify Christmas.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Yeah,
And they
but-
let you have that as well?
Listen, nobody was thrilled,
Right.
but like I was happy to pretend Jesus existed, provided there were going to be Santa gifts after.
Sure.
Do you think if the Da Vinci Code had worked, they would have made you sing Happy Birthday to Dan Brown?
Yeah.
Happy birthday, dear Dan Brown.
If only. If only.
Yeah.
So tell me, sorry, to rewind all of this, what is your tour show about, please?
Well, it's about success.
Yes.
About success. It's got some showbiz stories,
Nice.
some name dropping.
I can't imagine you name dropping. Genuinely. That wasn't meant to be sarcastic.
David Bowie was saying that to me just the other day.
Oh, David.
I was trying to think of someone alive and I couldn't.
And that's kind of why I couldn't imagine you name dropping.
It is nice to have a proper joke on this podcast, though, so well done.
Fuck you. You're rude.
So, what's the biggest name you drop in the tour show?
Buzz Aldrin.
That is
Whoa.
a big name
Yeah,
to drop.
that's my
Whoa.
biggest
So
name.
you've met Buzz Aldrin?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, well, so this is the thing.
What?
My first ever Radio 4 panel show, and, you know, you've been doing stand-up for a little bit, you get an agent, usually kind of goes in that order, and then work sort of starts changing, these things you've fantasised about, seeing other people maybe that you've gigged with doing. And so I got booked for a Radio 4 panel show, which was already, I was so gloriously
Please,
happy,
yeah.
excited.
I'm moving this
And then they rang up to tell me who else was on and go through the games, and they were going through who was on, and they opened with Jimmy Carr. So I was just trying to, like silently, without being a dweeb to them, react to the fact that, like, fucking hell, Jimmy Carr is one of the most famous comedians in the world. He's one of the best gag writers who's ever lived. Like,
And I'm doing a
Jimmy
show
Carr,
with him.
I'm going to be like, he will shake my hand and know who I am. And as I was trying to absorb this, and they went, and Buzz Aldrin.
What the hell?
I know, from the moon. And that's why I talk about it.
Why was he booked for it, and how did he have time? And what was the premise of the show?
The show, I think it was Museum of Curiosity.
Oh, they can get some like randomly amazing
Yeah,
guests.
randomly amazing people, and it was via John Lloyd, from QI, who's
Yeah.
very well connected and knows lots of people and is lots of people's friends, and so it just was one of those really random things. And then when we had the photograph taken at the end, I don't talk about this in my show, but it was very sweet of Jimmy, because it was the first night I'd ever met him, and obviously I was a very new comic, and he's really
Yeah.
supportive to new comics,
Yeah.
as we know.
To be fair,
And,
he really is.
He really is. And when we were having the photograph taken, I was definitely the lowest status person in the room, so I was sort of out on the edge. And Jimmy said, "No, come here." And he put me next to Buzz Aldrin, and he went, "Touch me, touch him, not touch me." That would be an awful story.
That is, to be fair, one of the things Jimmy Carr has never done.
Never done. No, absolutely not
That we know of.
any of us. So he said, he went, "Sarah, come here," and then he, in the photo, put me next to Buzz Aldrin in the light, and he went, "Touch him, he's been on the moon." So the photograph, I've just got my hand on the back of Buzz Aldrin.
Just gently caressing Moon Man. That's amazing.
Yeah. So that's my biggest
Holy
name drop.
shit.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
I think at my first panel show I was just on with like, I'm not going to name male comedians. Now. That's really mean to just be like
Phil Wang.
Yeah.
Russell Kane.
No, I'm not going to list my peers as disappointments just then. Actually,
But sometimes this does happen where something that you think is so great, and then you tell someone maybe from home, family member, and has been like, "Oh my God, I'm going to be doing a thing with Ramesh."
yeah.
Who?
Oh, I know.
Yeah. And you're
Yeah.
like, "Oh God."
But it's so arbitrary as well. Like sometimes you'll be like, "Oh, I'm about to see this like major, like I'm about to see like pointless celebrities or something," which
Yes,
for me is
yeah.
like the biggest thing.
Yeah.
And someone will be unimpressed, and then you'll be like, "Oh, I'm just gonna go on BBC 4's A Good Read," and I'll be
Oh
like,
yes.
"You."
They're letting
on BBC Radio 4's A Good Read with Harriet Gilbert.
Yeah.
You.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think that's quite nice that like you can go to different people for different things. For
Yeah.
I
Definitely.
thought you were gonna be like that. They would have been like, "Oh, Buzz Aldrin is not Neil Armstrong."
Oh, I see.
Like
yeah.
the shit astronaut.
Yeah.
Was that your reaction?
Yeah, shit
But it's still
astronaut.
in the lineup. Like,
Yeah.
if you know,
The
if you
lineup,
know
right.
if you know Gary Barlow, you
Yeah.
know Howard and Jason. Right?
Yeah.
So if you know
Buzz.
Neil Armstrong, you know Buzz Aldrin.
Did he
Learn all
seem like
three
more
at
of a
once.
Howie or a Jason?
Oh no, I think he's a Gary Barlow.
Oh, is he?
Yeah. You know, this is gossip. This is gossip.
Neil's the Robbie.
Neil's a Robbie, absolutely.
Fascinating.
So Buzz was supposed to be first on the moon, but he's quite right wing. He's got some beliefs. Probably very popular now in America. The kind of thing. At the time, they were too scared about what he would say, and he made the
Really?
moon part of his Masonic lodge by he took his Masonic
Oh
flag up there as well as
my
the American
God.
one.
Shut
No.
up.
No.
What?
Yeah. It's part of his Masonic lodge. He literally go like.
But
Bag
can the
suits.
Masons do that?
I mean, if they've got to the moon, then you can pretty much do whatever you like with the moon.
What were they worried he was going to say?
For white people.
Wow, I'm glad you really went for it, and I respect it.
He's going to punch you now.
Buzz.
Yeah, that's what he does. He punches people.
Does
What?
he?
The sentence, did you not know this?
Sorry, I was
It's on
so impressed that
YouTube.
you met him. I didn't know he was a madman.
Sarah, at least I'll have
No.
touched someone that's been on the moon.
That's true.
Exactly. It'd be like a meteorite just coming straight for your face. What? So this is not. I mean, this is publicly well known. Actually, I don't think Buzz comes out of this particularly badly. It was no, hear me out.
We've gone from I don't name drop to you talking about Buzz Aldrin on first name terms.
Buzz doesn't come out that badly from this. My Buzz.
See, how can you imagine it? It's worse after wine.
I love it.
Because it was one of those moon landing deniers, and they was in a press junket, and they had lied to get in there, and then were very disrespectful to him. And it's on tape. Essentially, Buzz Aldrin fought for his country. And before the space work that he did.
Yeah. The space industry job.
The temping he did on the moon. And so he's a veteran, is what I'm trying to say. And the man was incredibly disrespectful and was trying to get him to admit he hadn't gone. And imagine if you trained that long, done something that incredible, not only personally, but for the whole of humanity, to have some kid say
Loon.
just because
idiot.
it doesn't fit my narrative of reality, it didn't happen. So he punched him. You can watch it on YouTube.
I absolutely will. I can confirm that I will be watching
In
that
fact,
on YouTube.
everyone, pause now, go away, have a little watch.
We
and
get
come
it.
back.
We
Yeah.
get it. We support you. Oh my
All your
god.
listeners will already have watched that and know about it. They'll be going, where have you been?
I do worry that's the general vibe of our listeners. So they're like, these bitches are
people
so
are
These are
cultural
big current
references.
events. Do you also know the Berlin Wall has fallen?
Oh, Helen did tell me that. I do know that much. That much I do know. Before we do our listener problem, I feel like maybe you'll be a good person to talk to about this. I talked about this on the Patreon, but then so many people messaged me to say that maybe I should talk about it on the main
Is it
episode.
about my new painted nails?
It's not about your new painted nails.
Got painted nails. as well.
Yes. It turns out we can all do it. No, I was talking about how, well, I'm 34 years old, guys.
Baby, tiny baby.
Thank you for saying that. It means everything, especially given what I'm about to say. And I've never wanted to have a baby before. And I don't know if I do want to have a baby.
Yeah, welcome to your mid-30s.
Yeah, but
it goes on till you're 42.
And also I'm really reticent, and I think the reason I didn't want to talk about it on the episode was because I can see in front of me 20 women I used to work with in an office, all of whom said, well, when you're older you'll change your mind. And the me of then I want to respect and be loyal to, when she was like, fuck it.
Yeah.
But equally,
But there are so many people in your position feeling exactly the same who also felt differently in a past incarnation. That's why it's really important to talk about it.
okay.
But I also think that it's really important, even if what those women have said to you has turned out to be the case, they're still not allowed to say it to
Also,
you when it's
still
not
not
the
their
case.
place.
Also,
Yeah.
they can't make you understand this feeling that you're feeling. What they're saying is you'll change your mind because your body will want a baby, and that isn't necessarily what you're
That's not
saying.
what
Exactly. So it's not like, oh, you're wrong, you don't know yourself. What's different is there's another question of like, oh, what if? The possibilities. What is the right decision? Is there a wrong decision?
So this is what's happening right now, is just that the door is closing. Not yet.
How is it closing?
As in.
Are we running out of sperm?
No.
There's
not
a
at all.
global shortage.
There's a global shortage of sperm, and I'm here to
Actually,
tell you guys.
5G is burning off all the sperm.
No, what I mean to say is that suddenly, in a way I've never been aware of, I'm slightly aware of my age and of the quest of knowing that I don't want it now and I'm not ready for it now and I couldn't financially support one now, but that by the time I could, that then my body might not be able
It's
to.
a really cruel trick.
Yeah.
That whole shtick and all of the pressure. Yeah, it's a really cool trick. There's a really Sheila Hetty wrote an amazing book called Motherhood, which is about approaching 40. She's in a long-term relationship and doesn't know. And doesn't know the answer. And so she throws sort of I-Ching and dice and has conversations with herself. But it's about the unknowingness, which is just, it is what it is. Yeah.
And the thing is that the current predicament I'm having is just because I don't know, but I also don't know that I want it to be shut off as a possibility. I'm like, should I be freezing my eggs? Which is what I was talking about in the... But then it turns out, did you know that costs like
So much money.
So much money.
And also then you have to do IVF. It's not like you've frozen your eggs, you can put them back in
Yeah.
and get pregnant.
What, you can't just defrost?
Is this the
Pop them in down the gob like a Nurofen?
Not yet.
Is
I'm
it just
sure that's what
because of the
happened.
cost of living crisis? It's hard to run the freezer. Is that is that what you mean?
No, I mean like it's hundreds of pounds to find out if you have viable eggs to do so, and then it's thousands of pounds per go, and they recommend you do it 3 times, so it's like $3,000 a go
And then you have to pay every year. The other thing is it cocosts £400 a year to keep your eggs.
to run said
What, like an egg
fridge.
bank?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway. So there's lots of things. And again, I think what happened was we started to discuss, as a culture, full of women who wanted to get as much out of life as possible. So it's a really positive discussion. And I think egg freezing came up as something that we heard in our early 20s or teens, as in, don't worry, they've got egg freezing now. We'll worry about this at 34.
Yeah.
Without actually going, expensive, it's really painful.
Yeah, you have to do hormone treatment.
And then you might go through IVF several times unsuccessfully, again, painfully, hormonally. So it's not
Solval.
yeah, and it's not an easy one. But if you're someone who definitely knows that you want children and you think you've got low egg reserves, that's a good thing to get people to get checked out. Because actually you might have even less time than you realise. Or finding something out might make you go, no, I do want to do it. Because the idea of not doing it broke my heart. Like, there are some things that, by having their health checked out, those kind of things are really proactive steps, I think.
Yeah, I think I'm going to do that and see how I feel. I think I'll know a lot based on what I feel in reaction to what I'm told. But also, I feel so weird. I feel weird and like,
Yeah,
even talking about it, I'm like, as in, I feel like, I don't know what I'm saying.
but what you're feeling is really, really, really common. This is not to say that you're not special. You are.
Thank you. I don't have to be special.
You're a precious lady, but
Thank you.
That's why it's good to talk about it, because it's a really blur, annoying.
It feels almost like cliched, but then also feels like, but we chose clowns. We're clowns. So we got all this other fun stuff. So maybe it doesn't have to matter, and it doesn't matter. And I don't even know if I mind if they're mine or not. I don't know. I just weirdly suddenly have never had the inclination, and I'm now suddenly like I don't want to close off the options entirely.
Yeah.
But it's all so bizarre.
Well, I think that's it. That's saying all the variety of options. Like, one of them is, having children and a family that you're not biologically related to. There are lots of options that actually I used to find that really calmed me down.
They
the
do.
biggest thing was, do I want the responsibilities of parenting?
Yeah,
And that's a different thing to,
they don't have to be mine.
yeah, do I want to go, oh, you look like my dad, great.
Now that you say it,
Yeah.
I really know I don't.
I think we've had this conversation before, and I think that like we are in a really cool position that I wish everyone was in, where we have like queer lifestyles which are quite like radical and often outside the binary, more like often in the circles that we move. And I think looking at your life in those terms, in terms of like, non-conventional, because you don't, there are so many uncontrollable variables in this that I think if you can just go to it with like a sort of an attitude of sort of curiosity.
There are smaller questions all in there, really
Yeah.
fascinating, before the big question.
Yeah.
Because really what you want to know is what's going to happen to me.
Yeah.
What's my life going to be like?
That's exactly
And there's
it.
little ones
Oh,
like,
that's so true.
I used to ask myself little questions like, do I want to make packed lunches? Yes. Do I want to tell some bedtime stories? Yes. So I could imagine my life completely reorganised around someone else's, and then it's like tiny rucksacks, days out, the science museum. There were things that were so positive, and it was a building up of those things
Yeah, that's nice.
that helped me see, like, because I always I didn't identify as a nurturing woman.
What?
Yeah, because I was a very selfish person always, and I was always a very.
That's such a weird thing for you to say to me, because you're so nurturing.
I think I really changed, and I changed because I felt it in myself. But before then, I'd been really hardened and told that I wasn't, and so I thought that equated with not parenting, because you can't. You're a selfish person, and because I didn't feel motherly, or I had to really examine and ask myself lots of little questions and look and read lots of other things, because it was like it's a phase of exploration, and I think there's so much happy life and a really generative life that doesn't involve having children at all, or certainly biological children.
Agreed.
There's something about having a child which takes so much of your energy that you're a much worse citizen. don't tweet me and say someone runs a charity and's got 9 kids, okay? In my experience, I only care about my kid now.
I've seen you do material about this, and it's so funny.
Yeah.
Which is like you not having.
But that energy is a balance. So it's not like, oh, now I'm a mother. It's like you've created another consumer.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's nothing noble about it. That's what I meant to say.
That is. This has genuinely been reassuring. I think.
Can I close the conversation by saying, imagine that conversation, but with Helen Bauer present?
Oh wow, we would have. Sarah would not.
She would have told you to jump down a well. That's what she would have told you.
Yeah.
It's just a generic response. She's like, if you're confused, just go in a well.
A well? Does she meditate in wells? Has she been in a well?
No, she uses them as sort of a punitive tool.
Yeah.
So for men who have spurned our listeners, for herself when she's failed her own expectations, for anyone she doesn't like.
You should do an episode down a well. Number one, I think the acoustics would be fantastic.
Wouldn't they be gorgeous?
Yeah. And then you could like watch as the sun came and then the moon came out. You know, you can see stars really early apparently when you're down a well.
How do you know that? Sarah, I don't know. We haven't met loads of times. But one of the key features that I would say about you is I could literally say like donuts and you'd be like, I read a book on that.
Yeah, I know. Apparently it's my insecurity thing. It's like, so I rely on, I actually read a thing about that.
About wells.
As it's like, doesn't matter if no one likes me and I've got no friends because, anyway,
I've got my books.
It's my tick.
Because I read a book about friends, so it's actually fine.
I've got a library card. Sort of adventures. But I think Helen has to go into a well. I think if you're going to dole it out,
You've got to go in a
you've
well.
got to bin there.
Can we get
get
TrustyHogs merch wells?
That'd be lovely.
Baby wells that you could drink out of, or you could put your
No, money,
pens in?
savings up. Yeah.
Very
A
nice.
well that's a money box.
Very nice. Or a
Cost of
pen
living
well.
crisis. Yeah.
Yes.
Not to be a Helen Bauer about this, but I was thinking full-size well that you can install in your back garden. But mini well, also good.
Yeah.
You have to dig a well. You can't install one.
How do you know so much about wells? She's a well expert. Oh my gosh, this is going to be great. I think we've already seen how good Sarah is at giving advice. While you're here, we should take advantage. Sorry.
I'm kind of an amateur therapist, so I'm not.
I think you seem like a pro. Look at that jumper. Come on, you're a pro.
It's from Bowden. I'm old.
It's not old, but ready, qualified to therapize.
I am, yeah.
It's about douchebag men in comedy. If you'd like to know.
Whoa, that sounds very industry
We've got
specific.
experience.
Well, I'll give you a quick précis then. So this is a person that is trying to get into student comedy, went up to the Fringe for the final of a student comedy award, and unfortunately was given advice by a male comedian who he thought he looked up to, who was just a year ago above her in the Comedy Society, was a bit of an arsehole about like, oh, don't do that sort of stuff, don't do that sort of stuff. Obviously we don't know what the stuff is, but how do you deal with men offering unsolicited advice, and how do you find good advice?
It depends. You don't need advice. The whole point of stand-up is really you just stop listening to everyone, don't you? Apart from an audience, and if they're not laughing, you should listen. You should hear that silence. But if they're laughing, then it's all about following your own thing. Advice doesn't ever stop. And you can do two things. As you realise you're about to get advice, you can go, oh, sorry, thank you so much. I really don't need notes. That's a new bit. I'm just sort of working it out. Or you can just literally walk away.
Do the second one, because the emotional labour of the first one.
Yeah.
Men that are giving you unsolicited advice aren't necessarily going to take your boundary very well if you assert it in a calm, clear way.
Yeah. But I think sometimes they're so desperate, especially if you had it like when someone's trying to give you like a topper or a punchline. Like there's a guy who's really nice in comedy. Like I'm not going to name him, and he once said to me, what you should say is, and it was so awful, he said, you should say that, and I can't even remember what my routine about, but it definitely wasn't specifically this. He said, it was obviously something that he'd thought and thought, I can't get away with, I'll give it to a young woman to say. He said,
They do that all the time.
He said, and this is what I would say to this young comic, is sometimes they're offloading their baggage onto you. And so just like, yeah, exactly, like if other emotional labour, shouldn't be your burden. And if you do just have to smile and nod, don't hate yourself for not wanting to be confrontational. But he said, you should say that fingering an old lady is like opening a bag of crisps. And I was looking at him, and it was so quick, I hadn't had time to, and I'm not really a walk awayer, I'm a sort of say they're frozen and then hate myself 12 years later.
I've actually read a book on fingering old ladies.
That's what I was thinking. As he was saying it to me, I was like, it's so nasty. It's so nasty towards a portion of your audience. It's so nasty to human bodies in general, and it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
That's not like a great observation about funny. That doesn't make any sense.
It's so the amount of men who would come to me when I started comedy with like incredibly vulgar descriptions of what they thought lesbian sex were that like, they thought I could say that they couldn't say on stage.
Whereas what they were doing is just enacting out like a fantasy. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but
Something
also
that they tell
kind of wanted someone to tell and to like agree with them that vaginas were actually gross.
Right.
And I was like, I'm the opposite of your target market for that particular thought, my friend. But yeah, that's fascinating.
But
well,
also this person, I know this is just a quick one, but because she's so new, please don't let it put you off. But yes, it doesn't go away.
it really doesn't.
But it's rare. It's rare. It doesn't happen on a daily basis.
I get it a lot. I get a lot of advice both from male audience members and male comics.
Yeah.
I think sometimes it is to do with presentation, not to be like...
But also, I just don't think anyone should ever talk to male audience members.
I agree. Oh, to be clear, I'm not trying to.
No, we shouldn't have to. This is the trouble with some venues when you can't escape quickly enough. That is not part of the ticket price. So, I mean, that should stop it.
I think if it's a male audience member, if they even try and approach me, I will be like, "Oh, sorry, I've got to get a bus."
Yeah, that's what I would do.
I think if it's another
Put my
comedian,
headphones in.
That's smart.
I can't hear you!
they've literally said hello, and you've gone 1 sec. Sorry, I've got my headphones on.
I have got to start doing that. Fine, I'll just do that.
Yeah.
I'll just do that. Does that help?
But
Yes, very useful.
Can I also just say, I think one of the things I didn't start comedy at uni because I think I didn't think I was the originator of funny material. I was like, I'll just like act in funny things that the boys write, essentially.
Yeah.
And I think that is quite like a gendered dynamic that happens at uni. And I would say to this person, like, just try and quiet all of that noise from the boys and just like be like really like playful and silly and just have like loads of fun with it. And just if that's what you're doing, then you will be achieving that, and anything that anyone says to knock that will just bounce off because you haven't set their advice as like the arbitrary metric by which you're going
And
to
you're allowed to be
define yourself.
arrogant, even when you're new. You're allowed to incite. You don't have to say it out loud, but in your head to go, I'm a better comedian than you, and I'm going to be a better comedian than everyone.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Yeah, you're allowed to have that little inner voice, and that is every comic who is working is that arrogant.
Yeah.
I was going to say, because I would say the other thing is to remember at all times that your goal is not to be better than men 2 years ahead of you in uni, which is to say that sometimes whenever I get like frustrated by maybe say a success of a peer, or, because I can admit to that does sometimes happen, or if I feel like I'm judging myself against things I'm not even sure I want, but I know my peers are doing, so I'm like, do I want that? I try to remember that I don't want to be better than the people who've been doing it the same length of time as me. I want to be better than my favourite comedians. And if then that's your goal, then you kind of fuss less about those people, right?
Oh, and also
Which is
he's
the same thing as you're saying.
he's jealous and insecure, and the reason that he said it is because he feels bad about himself
Yeah.
and he wants to gatekeep you and keep you in your
Awfully,
place.
maybe he's flirting. It's a terrible worry, because they also do that, men in comedy.
They think advice is flirtation?
Well, no, they think they're treating you as a peer, just saying to you, hey, if you just...
Oh.
I've had that situation where someone says like quite hurtful stuff about the thing you're doing.
Negging.
Yeah,
Maybe they were flirting and I was too busy crying to notice. Is this supposed to be arousing? Do we have time for one more problem?
Oh, yes, I'm here for the next problem.
Yes, let's hear it.
Okay. This problem is from O.
Hi, O.
This is somebody who has slept with a girl for the first time. It was also the girl's first time, and it was amazing. She
Wait,
loved
is
it.
the person identifying as
Same sex? Yeah.
same sex? Okay, great.
So same-sex relationship, or same-sex hookup rather. But something inside me felt wrong because I didn't know how my family would think if they knew I'd done it. I had no issue with it, but I knew everyone around me would. So I shamefully blocked the girl, and I feel so upset with myself.
What? Yeah, sorry.
How can I remedy this? What should I be tackling?
Well, you don't have any right to be in their life again.
Yeah.
I mean, you have no right to anything. But if you want to, this person doesn't have to do is give you any time, listen to your explanation. You've done something incredibly hurtful at something that's such a formative stage, which is why I feel so harshly that if you need to feel better about yourself, the first thing is that she doesn't need to make you feel better about it. If you need to feel better about yourself and you want to apologise, I think you have to do that with the understanding that she owes you no apology.
Yeah.
And if you're sending it out in the air and she's blocked you
She
back
doesn't
now,
owe you forgiveness or anything.
or appeasement or a conversation
appeasement.
about it. Because I think sometimes that's what people want to apologise. They know they've done the wrong thing and they want you to tell them it's fine. It's not fine what you did. you must never do that again. And I think you should go on a real journey. I understand. Well, I don't understand. I can try to imagine how complicated it is to be exploring your sexuality if you've come from a background that makes you think there's a wrong and a right way. So work that out before you sleep with people. I mean, well, maybe I'm wrong, but because you have the potential to hurt people so much.
Yes, I think that's right. It's really complicated, and I think everything that you've said is incredibly true, and my gut reaction too. I think we can completely understand where that internalized homophobia comes from, and like that really is an awful thing to be feeling, but yeah, try not to externalize it and take it out on anyone else. This is a thing for you to sort of reckon with and contend with, and it's a case of, can you find a community of people around you that like you're not romantically involved with, that can sort of support you and coach you through this situation in sort of a consensual way, like they've signed up to be there for you.
So yeah, you can talk about it, and then also when you're having relationships, it's something that that people know about you. I guess you'd want people to know, so then your behaviour would make sense. Or if you were struggling, you could take it to them because it was information they already had.
It's so interesting. I've
got it.
Oh,
don't say well.
It's well.
For fuck's sake, can we have one wellness week? One.
I'm sorry to say, it was well.
You should have known. You read the book.
I know.
Can I say that you've both been so quick to defend, I suppose, a younger version of myself, that in a way that I wouldn't have, which is, and you're dead right. I think you're absolutely right. I don't know that I have ever felt as like worthy of that protection. Like, it's like queer people, we sometimes give ourselves permission to hurt ourselves as a community, because we can all go, well, we're all having this horrible experience, and I think discerning between what is an excuse and what is an explanation. So like, your family situation may well explain your behaviour, it doesn't excuse it. And I think that I sort of thought that was par for the course in being queer, is like, people would freak out after you had sex with them. People would say you would want you to be a secret after you slept with them. People would deny your existence in public when you had slept with them. People would objectify you when you were out if they knew that you were sleeping with somebody of the same sex. People would like, and you just kind of go like, oh yeah, I guess that's sort of just being gay, or like up all the way up to the scale of like, yeah, of course people have screamed at me in the street. Yeah, of course you have to check the safety of an area. And
I think quite a huge thing is that we are taught we're responsible for other people's pain, or to lessen other people's pain. And I think part of being in pain or having bad treatment is knowing, okay, that's about them, not about me. And so I think this person, sounds like they're going through something really painful.
Yeah.
And that's caused them to inflict pain on somebody else. And while now that they've admitted that and they don't want to do it again, it's not this other person's, that's the thing. Whereas I think a lot of the time, also the other thing, which is from heterosexual culture, but I think there's probably an overlap.
Tell us. We never get any of that on this podcast.
Well, this whole thing about
like a messenger.
A man would reject you. We were taught in our teenage magazines, a man would reject you because he likes you so much. And so then when he goes, oh my God, I was just really scared by my emotions. We were taught to be like, and that is romance.
Yes, yes.
I remember at secondary school being on a train and a girl saying, what if the only person who can stop you crying is the man who made you cry? And we thought like that was amazing.
What?
I know, isn't it awful?
Yeah.
Because the idea that was the only thing that would solve the problem is letting the person who treated us terribly when
back
he was
in.
drunk turn back up again and go, yeah, and we would create a super narrative of
did so much work for them.
It's the love's too real.
Wow. I do think though you're dead right about like not maybe sleeping with other people until you feel it differently, and also doing some of the work, because it's interesting that O says in the message, I'm fine with it, but my family wouldn't be. That doesn't feel true. Yeah. And also possibly like it's really hard to have be true if your family are involved in your life at all and you're a person with feelings. Like being told what you are is wrong and it having effect on you doesn't make you intellectually weak. It just makes you
you can't
human.
disconnect things that
No,
easily. Yeah.
but I used to think that like, well, I have intellectualized and understand that am of equal value, have dignity, deserve respect, deserve rights. But it didn't change the fact that I wasn't receiving those from people who love me, and that does meaningfully change your self-perception and your self-worth. So it's okay if that's the case. But yeah, you got to sort it out before you hook up with other girls. And honestly, I'd say sort it out fast because sleeping with women's the
It's
best.
fun.
It's so good.
It's a
No
good
offense
time
to you and
ahead of
yours, but
Oh no, I'm a woman.
oh yeah, okay, my apologies.
That's my crew.
She has a baby, and God, yeah, you're so right. You're so right. Oh, listen, good problem solving, guys.
Really good. I knew you'd be wonderful.
I really loved it.
And you with the whales. Why yada. Sara Pascoe, you're going on tour all over the shop. Where can people find tickets? Are there any left?
Loads
Okay.
on the internet.
Great. At sarahpascoe.com.
SarahOnTour.com. Sarah without an H.
Sarah on tour. They know that. Come on. They know that. You've been on Graham Norton. Come on.
I don't know.
They should know. Graham with a H, Sarah without. And on Instagram, Twitter.
Yeah, I'm on Instagram and Twitter.
Nice. Pretty cool. Great. Sara Pascoe, everybody. Yay.